Hey guys, Keo Lancer here. Once another Keo Lancer Gaming. Don't forget the bell button, subscribe button to get notifications to my channel. Alright guys, we got some dope information. Finally, we heard something about this, even if it's just a claim about Monster Hunter for Nintendo Switch. But the cool thing is, guys, Capcom did promise them years ago, 4 years ago, when Monster Hunter World was released, I believe it was 4 years ago, was released, saying to Nintendo they will get their own Monster Hunter game built from the ground up for Nintendo Switch. All right, but also the cool thing is Monster Hunter for the Nintendo Switch has dropped some new DLC, and I will be playing all the DLC that I haven't played with my friends, guys. So stay tuned for that. But anyway, let's get into this. New Monster Hunter game for Nintendo Switch will be revealed soon. It's claimed. Now, hearing that definitely makes what Capcom say true, what they said to them years ago. That's the cool thing. Capcom is gearing up to announce a new Monster Hunter game for Nintendo Switch. That's according to Capcom insider Dust Golem, who has claimed that the game is in development using the Nintendo Switch capability version of a RE engine as opposed to the older MT framework engine used for recent series entries. I will crush one dream with my RE engine on Switch Talk. Does go on added. ER7 was it RE7, RE2, and RE3 aren't coming to Switch. We know that, right? It's just too powerful. They tried to port RE7 to Switch for a while, one time, but had difficulty getting any satisfactory result. RE engine games for the Switch will need to be made with Switch in mind, which yeah, it does. During the shareholder meeting this summer, Capcom said it had no plans to bring 2018's Monster Hunter World to Nintendo Switch. However, it added, "We are looking into development of Monster Hunter games for teenage children, and hope you look forward to what the future brings." Teenage children. I'm gonna give my opinion about that after a little bit closer to the end of the article. Asked for more details on new series entries gathered towards teenagers during a financial result presentation this month. Capcom said there is no information that we can share at this time. Capcom confirmed on Friday that Monster Hunter World Iceborne final update will feature the return of legendary Elder Dragon Fatalist, which I faced against Fatalist before, guys, on the older Monster Hunter games. The game's fifth title update will launch on September 30th at 5 p.m. PD and 8 p.m. ET. October 1st at 1 a.m. BST. Monster Hunter's series launch in 2004 was a cumulative shipment exceeded 64 million units as of June 2020. Cool. In terms Capcom's lifetime shipment, the franchise is one place ahead of Street Fighter, 45 million, and second only to Resident Evil, 103 million. Monster Hunter World has shipped 16.1 million units. It's Capcom's best-selling game of all time, while its Iceborne expansion has shipped 5.8 million units. Now, guys, like I said, Capcom talked about giving Nintendo Switch their own Monster Hunter version because Capcom literally begged Nintendo to put more RAM and power into the Switch. Nintendo is stubborn. Nintendo basically was like, well, we want to do what we want to do, just like Nintendo does. We do what we want to do for our system. We don't care and stuff like that. So Capcom had to make a difficult decision. Putting Monster Hunter on Xbox Series X and PlayStation and PC. Of course, the PC version came out years later. So they did it behind Nintendo's back. Nintendo probably was a little upset about this, but Capcom didn't want to bite the hand that feed them because Capcom had Monster Hunter on Nintendo products for years. Because the last Monster Hunter that came out for was a Sony product, which was the PSP, was years ago, probably like around 2007, 2008. That's when I was playing Monster Hunter Freedom 2, and then eventually I got the illegal version of G onto my PSP, which was pretty cool. I have to say, me and my friends figured it out. Well, my friend Xander figured it out, and we all got it, and we all was fiending on that game, putting hundreds of hours into that game. So basically, Capcom promised them that they were going to make a game specifically for Nintendo Switch. Now, here's the cool thing. Now, Monster Hunter has released Monster Hunter Tamer for the cell phone. Looks beautiful. Monster Hunter Tamer was also released on Nintendo DS first. Cool game. That game was based off of taking care of monsters and capturing them like Pokemon. Then it released another Monster Hunter game that was turn-based that had the same anime-ish looking graphics. Now what I'm hoping Nintendo does is exclusively make a Monster Hunter game that looks just like those Monster Hunter games, like Monster Hunter Stories and a new Monster Hunter game that's coming out turn-based wise for the cell phone. I want them to make that Monster Hunter game look like that to make it distinct from Monster Hunter World. Also, guys, remember, Nintendo was talking about a Nintendo Switch Pro. Now, I'm thinking this Monster Hunter game will not come out to next year. I'm talking about holiday of next year. And Monster Hunter that's going to be coming out for the Nintendo Switch will be made for the Nintendo Switch Pro in mind. This is in my opinion and an assumption. Now, guys, don't quote me on that, but it makes sense. Nintendo needs more power because guess what? Monster Hunter World is now the staple of how Monster Hunter games should be made. This new Monster Hunter game for Nintendo Switch should surpass Monster Hunter World. It really should, because this game, Monster Hunter World, has literally broke records in my opinion. And I love that game, and I love playing that game, and I introduced my friends to that game, and they all love it. But anyway, guys, that's my opinion of how I feel about this Monster Hunter game that's going to be coming out for Nintendo Switch. Alright? Don't forget the bell button, the subscribe button to get the notifications to my channel. Don't forget that thumbs up button, guys. It definitely helps me in the algorithm. This is Keo Lancer, and we got more coming up.